Hey, Little Lolo coming back down to earth here, and I don't know if you've heard the news, but Travis Scott has just released a new album called Utopia, where the masses are going Looney Tunes batshit crazy over it. And when I talk about the masses, I'm talking about these people. Except me, because if I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care for Travis Scott, and I really don't think he should have a platform, if I'm gonna be honest. And no, it's not because I'm envious that he dressed up as Batman one year for Halloween, or that he cosplayed as my favorite character from SpongeBob, Doodle Bob. It is because, and this is going to be graphic for some of you guys, so I'm gonna warn you beforehand, but it is because he is responsible for the death of 10 people. For those of you who are not aware of what I'm talking about, Travis Scott had these very famous Astroworld concerts that would take place in Houston, Texas. And guys, I'm letting you know right now that this was a hot commodity. Everybody wanted to go to this. You know, the first two that he did were extremely successful, and the momentum that was building for the 2020 cancellation due to COVID was pretty high. Now, the attendance for Astroworld 2021 was 50,000 people, so the hype was real. So when his set was getting ready to start, people started to, gather and develop a crowd, and this is where issues began to arise. Now, first-hand accounts, especially those who were closer to the front or in the center, stated that they weren't even able to move. Like, everything just started to get so compact that they were stuck together. They couldn't lift their hands up or anything. They were just like immovable figurines. Now, this is what we call human crush, where a body of people become dangerously overcrowded, and the pressure of each individual just begin to collapse on one another, as shown in a lot of the Travis Scott Astroworld clips. And it becomes so densely packed that people start to suffer from asphyxiation. Now, to prevent this, you should have proper crowd control restrictions and regulations, which unfortunately they did not have. But there were sources that said that even before the concert, there were early warning signs for disaster. So why did they decide to go through with it? Your guess is as good as mine, but maybe it had to do with something like they would rather put people's lives at stake than to disappoint them. Anyways, immediately when Travis Scott's set started, that's when everything went south. And presumably the first person who sadly passed away that night reportedly passed out before the first song even finished. Now, what continued to happen was that it got to a point where anybody who was in the crowd had no control over their body. It was like a riptide of just an ocean of people moving from one position to another, seeing new faces, losing their friends in the chaos, and just attempting to survive. People started to collapse on one another. Piles of bodies just toppled on top of each other, where soulless eyes just watched in horror because they too could not control the situation except get lost in the wave of terror. People started to lose consciousness over and over again, and this is going to get graphic, but the majority of people who passed away did so in the south quadrant of the venue, so a very dysfunctional area that had little to no crowd control. I mean, Travis Scott was aware of this. He literally called out for assistance on one of these individuals who were passed out. And while his lifeless body just laid there, Travis Scott continued to sing as if he was like serenading him to the underworld or something. I'm sorry, conspiracy brain. On top of this, there was a crowd of people who were begging and pleading him to stop the concert.
Stop this show! Houston, Texas, make some motherfucking noise real quick, y'all.
It got to that point where people were standing on posts, waving their hands like a person stranded on an island who sees a boat from a distance, like, hey, stop the concert, you idiot.
In there, bro, shut the fuck up. Exactly right. In there. People are fucking dying. I want to save somebody's life.
Now, you're not going to tell me that Travis Scott could not see nor hear what was going on in the crowd. there are artists out there who do concerts at any capacity who manage to have hawk-eyed vision when it comes to controlling the crowd. They would bring the concert to a complete halt when they notice something fishy going on. But not Travis Scott. He actually promotes this degenerate behavior and actually tells people that they should fucking rage and put themselves in these dangerous situations when they're breaking into their venues. There's a reason that they incite this type of behavior, like climbing on ambulance carts when people's lives are at fucking stake. It's because their leader is a piece of shit. Now, Travis Scott admitted that it was not his fault that people died at his concert. It was the people in charge of the venue. The professionals, he says. Wow, what a great way to take accountability there.
For this being my festival, I got, bring artists, creatively produce it. And, we just trust in the professionals to kind of just make sure that, people, are taken care of and, leaving safely. I just can control what I can on the stage, and then, you have the professionals control what they can in the crowd,
As shown in this clip and other clips, he was very aware of the detriment that was happening that night.
There's an ambulance in the car. Whoa.
Yes, there's an ambulance. Anybody who is sane or has any ounce of sympathy would put two and two together, but not Travis Scott. When he sees an ambulance, he has people doing the sturdy in his head, and no other thoughts of competence comes to mind. And you know what he does? He says, fuck it. You guys know what y'all came here for, and starts the circus all over again.
Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me, let's go. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake, goddammit.
Like, okay, sure, it is the professional's responsibility to take care of the venue and things of that sort, to keep everything in order in terms of crowd control, understanding what is needed to be done in order to ensure a safe environment for the population that was there. But it is his responsibility as an artist or just a human being in general to make sure that the people who came to see him are safe. It is impossible for me to draw a scenario where he wasn't visually aware of the holes in the fucking crowd or just a disturbance among the people where he would have deemed it necessary to stop the concert entirely. I think the ambulance was the biggest indicator of that. Now, after the hell that was a concert was finally over and it was confirmed that people did in fact die, Travis Scott came out with the Apology video that just seemed so bizarre that it became a meme on the internet.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost last night. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time.
It seemed like he wasn't even sorry that he was responsible for the deaths of 10 people. He was just sad that it was happening to him. Like, oh, fuck. I'm so fucking stressed. Why these fucking people have to die? Why these people have to die? Fuck. This gonna hurt my fucking bank account. I'll probably cancel now. Fuck. I know that there are people that are going to say that it is not his fault. He didn't murder anybody and that accidents happen and, people should be redeemed. Which is true, but I honestly think Travis Scott is just a terrible person. Because if you guys don't know, not only did he get his come up from bot accounts on SoundCloud, already showcasing his opportunistic behavior.
So I worked in the technology side of music. For Travis, what we did was fake his popularity. I programmed a fleet of SoundCloud bots to artificially inflate his play counts on SoundCloud. This told record label executives that he was much more popular than he actually was.
After this whole tragedy happened, his previous manager, the same guy showcased in that other clip, said that Travis Scott left him for dead because he had a seizure during a party in the dungeon where Travis Scott just left him there, and he woke up in the hospital the next day where they were texting back and forth, and Travis Scott fired him, saying he didn't want a manager that was having seizures, and even said, how do I not know you're not going to be shaking on the ground and shit? Does that sound like a good person to you? In conclusion, Travis Scott went to hiding with his large sums of cash and waited things out till they finally blew over, and 2 years later, here we are with his new album release, Utopia, which is estimated to do big numbers. And then I know how I said in my previous video to separate the art from the artist, but this is a murderer, guys. You know, this isn't an argument on Twitter. These are souls that would never get to see the light of day because of this man. And instead of taking accountability and, you know, maybe resonating with a positive higher force or anything that isn't expected of him, there are people that are going to say, well, he's giving money to the families. Well, yeah, that's expected. That's the least he could do for murdering these children. I don't believe he should have a platform at all, to be honest. I think he should change career paths. I think he should join the monks in the Himalayan mountains. Either way, it doesn't matter, because he's still going to be pushing music and people are still going to listen to it, because as I've said before, you know, celebrities, all they have to do is go into hiding, come out a few years later, depending on the detriment of the situation, and people will not remember and act like it never happened. So I'm here to inform you that it did in fact happen. Anyways, before I go, I just want to thank the new subscriptions. I appreciate it a lot. I didn't know my Doja video was going to do numbers. That's pretty cool. I was actually watching Oppenheimer late at night, like at 10 p.m. Didn't realize it was going to end at fucking 3 in the morning. Didn't know it was going to be that long of a movie. I woke up the next morning, and yeah, so I genuinely appreciate it. I will continue to provide the best content possible and push it out as fast as I could. My niche for YouTube is, you know, just providing content that is internet related, is within the internet spectrum. So whatever that may be, anything that is pretty much meme worthy, I'll do, like Twitch news, celebrity news, concepts like this that were in the past before, and that kind of bring them to the future. I'm sorry if this one was a little depressing. I promise you they're not all going to be like this. And yeah, anything I find interesting or important to talk about. Anyways, that's all from me. I'm off to another dimension. See ya.